My name is Hector. I have a sobriety day of May 2nd, 2019. That's a total of 20 sober solid months. I grew up in the city of Santa Ana. I grew up with a pretty good family. With my mom, my two brothers, and my sister, and my dad, who was an alcoholic. He actually died of alcoholism. I had some pretty good memories. One of the fondest memories that I have as a kid is my mom gave us like this basketball rim, for Christmas, and it was set up in the living room right next to the tree. And I decided it would be a great idea to like kind of bounce off the sofa and slam dunk like Shaq. And I ended up coming out the front window with it. I got in trouble, but it's pretty fun, I guess. That's like this type of stuff that I was doing, the old boys will be boys. My mom was always working, she was always taking care of us, the best mom in the world. And my dad was just like kind of like verbally abusive, physically abusive. I didn't know that he had a problem at the time. I just thought he was a mean dude, and then came the time when he left, and then he died. He died of a liver failure and all that. It kind of affected me a lot. Like I still love my dad regardless. But at the same time, I had a lot of anger pent up inside of me. After that, like I was kind of left alone, to be like the role model of the house, and I wasn't trying to have none of that. I decided to right there where I grew up in, it was very gang infested. I decided to join a gang and be part of something. It attracted me a lot. With that came, smoking weed and alcohol, which was pretty like at that moment, it was like, I don't know, some type of solution. And then, I kind of progressively just like graduated to meth. It's a hell of a drug. It really is. I didn't think it was going to take over my life the way it did. I started doing it just recreational. I remember the first time I ever tried it was at a party. I was drinking a lot, throwing up all over the place. And my cousin's like, dude, you're making a fool of yourself. He took me to the restroom and I did it, I snorted some of it. And I didn't know what I was snorting at the time, but it woke me up like instantly. Like it was an instant, just like an eruption in my brain. Later on, a few months later, I tried it again with some of my friends, and it was like the best thing that's ever happened to me at that moment. It was just like my mind just went boom. I had the Superman syndrome. I got to feeling like the Incredible Hulk, and like I was unstoppable. And I couldn't stop talking for hours, on my first experience, and it seems pretty cool, Little by little, I kind of progressed into doing like crime. I kind of had to maintain my own drugs and everything, my mom wasn't gonna give me money for that. So I started doing crime, and it kind of went hand in hand. I got in a lot of trouble, just from my experience alone. I've been in jail like 19 times, and 3 of those have been prison. And I say that to show you guys how my life was unmanageable. It became kind of normal to me, I was kind of used to it. It was like my vacation home. It just progressed into I couldn't keep a job. I couldn't do anything. It started taking over my brain a lot. All I could think about was how to get the next one. I had little stints of being sober, but I was just dry, I was just super dry. I had nothing to do. I had no purpose. I kept trying to blame everybody but myself, like the system and everything. Like the cops, F the cops and this and that. It's their problem that I'm getting high, and it's just I was never taking responsibility for anything. And, I went to jail and all sorts of stuff, and you think that would stop, it would stop a normal person, but I guess I wasn't normal, and I just kept doing it over and over and over again. It was kind of crazy, it's kind of like walking in front of cars and then expecting different results. Finally got to the point where I'm walking by these train tracks. So I had no job, I have no car anymore. My family doesn't want nothing to do with me. My daughter's just looking at her dad walking around smoked out, talking to himself. I was going through psychosis, and it's like, if I looked at myself, I would be feeling bad for myself, and it was very painful for my family to see that. But in my head, I was so selfish. I didn't care about anything or anyone. The only thing I was thought about was the next one. And like I said, I'm walking by these train tracks, and towards the end, which is my rock bottom, I just started seeing things for what they were. I'm walking by these train tracks, and there's a bunch of homeless people. They set up their camps, they have their tents, they have their bikes, they have their drugs, they have everything, and I didn't have nothing. That's how pathetic I got. At least they had a place to stay. At least they had a way to do things. I didn't have nothing no more. I had ran out of hustle. I had already stolen everything you could think of. I had already done everything you could think of. And it's just I was just at the point where I was chemically dependent and I couldn't do anything. I was useless without drugs and alcohol, And I remember the last time I kind of reached out to God, some car pulls up and he offers me some food. That's how bad I was looking. I took the food and I remember I was just walking and miserable and And I look up to the sky finally, and I was just like, dude, am I really here on earth to be this? Am I really here just to be this tweaker of this homeless, like schizophrenic tweaker on the street? And I don't know what it was, but then and there I had this peace of, this peace came upon me, moment of clarity, and something told me to go home, and I did. I still get home. I already had cried wolf so many times. I had already told them that I was going to change and blah, blah, blah. Same old story, right? They heard it a million times. And they're like, no, you got to get out of here. We're done with you, So I did the next best thing, and I broke into my mom's car, fell asleep in the back seat. I get woken up the next day. They're telling me to get out of there. I don't know. I told them I wasn't leaving until I went to rehab. Like, I kind of forced it upon them to help me. I wanted help finally, and I was ready to receive help. I finally surrendered. My mom came out. She looked at me from upstairs, and she said, "What do you want?" I told her I want to like stop. And she said, "Well, come up." You know what I mean? Like, they took away my clothes. They took away everything. I was literally in boxers in her room, in the fetal position for like, I don't know how many days, just sweating and shaking and in pain. And it sucked. I remember going up the stairs, and even my penis would hurt. That's how bad I was in pain. They take me to treatment, and it took 3 days for them to let me in because that's how bad I was. And then they finally let me in, and I had surrendered. I was just like, I was willing to try everything different. I guess I got beaten into a state of reasonableness, and that's when things changed for me. Like, I started doing what they told me to do. I mean, at first I tried to put up a fight. I walk in the office and I tell them, this is how you're gonna help me, and this is what you guys are gonna do for me, and I'm gonna recover because this is gonna go like this. And they're like, no, it doesn't work like that. They're like, dude, like, let us run your life for a little bit. Just let us, tell you what to do, and just follow what we say and trust us. So you know what? My greatest ideas got me nowhere, and I did it. I started doing everything differently. I did a bunch of therapy. I did like all these groups, and then I met my sponsor, and it was like kind of like it had to be a God shot. I was sitting up in the front. I was working on this package that my therapist gave me. Kind of like I was working my own steps, and my sponsor gets there. She's a female, and she goes up, dude, like, what are you doing? I was like, well, I'm working some steps. They have like fellowships for like drug addiction and alcoholism, and I work AA now. And she told me, you can't sponsor yourself. Then I was like, why not? And then she's like, well, every time you have an idea, it's always your idea and what has happened. And I was like, well, I've been in jail this many times. I've been freaking without a job this many times. I've been a deadbeat dad this many times. And it's just like finally clicked in my head, like my own thinking wasn't getting me anywhere. I can't solve myself by myself. And I started taking directions. I worked the steps and everything. And, these 20 months, like, I'm still continuing to work a program. It's not just like, because I did like 4 months in that treatment center. I graduated, they had a little ceremony and everything. But one thing that stood out to me this time was that there is no graduation to life, and that I gotta continue to better myself. To this day, like, I sponsor people. My daughter is, she's 12 years old, and it's like these past 20 months have been the most consistent I've been in her life. And she's happy, she wants me around. Even her family wants me around, which is a trip. Like, they don't say no, I get to see her whenever I want. And that's a big old blessing. But I'll tell you one thing though, the love that I have for her wasn't enough for me to get sober. I hit my rock bottom. I had to hit it. Like, I had to hit what I hit in order to be where I'm at now. I have a lot of things going on for me. The most important thing for me is obviously, God and family. And then I have a cool job. I work in treatment also. Who would have thought, from being a client to like driving clients around, I go to school, I have a job that I keep consistently. I just try to be a better person every day and, be productive and everything, which is like the total opposite of what I was. I was just like leeching off society. I was a criminal. I was a scum of the earth, and it's just it's a blessing to be able to be breathing and living this life that I don't deserve.